In this video, I'll show you how to change your DNS settings in under a minute and speed up your internet connection. So join me, Mark, a network engineer with 26 years experience of working with ISPs, managed service providers and corporations. So let's get started. So first off, what does DNS do? So let's do an example of that. So let's come down to the start button, right click and do run. And I'm going to go into the command line here. So type CMD to do that. Okay, let's drop that into the middle here. So if I was to ping, so what ping does is it basically sends 4 packets of data to the device, be it server, network device, saying, are you there? So it's saying hello, 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 hello. So if we do www. Let's choose Microsoft, why not? .com. So we are using the host name of the device, or some people call it the fully qualified name of the device. So we're going to ping Microsoft.com. So this is what you would add into your browser. So now if we press enter, what the network will actually see is you're trying to get to the public IP address of 92.123.241.137. So that's how a network sees everything. It doesn't see it via the host name. It actually sees it by the IP address. So I've also had it explained to me, and I believe it's the same in the US, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've got the yellow pages. So imagine if you're looking for a tradesperson or something like that, you go into the yellow pages to find their telephone number, you find them inside of the yellow pages, and then you find the telephone number and you make the call. So that's essentially what a DNS server is doing on the network. So how does it work for you? So currently today, if you've done absolutely nothing to your PC or laptop to configure this, then you'll be using the ISP's DNS server. So let's bring that up so you can see that visually. So I do love a good diagram. So here we go. So imagine this is your laptop, desktop, whatever you've got, workstation. So at the moment, when you're doing your DNS requests, as we saw going to Microsoft as an example, you'd go to your ISP, you'd hit their DNS server, which the domain name service or DNS server. Here it will come back with the IP address we saw here, saying you want to go to Microsoft.com, this is the public IP address, and then it will then route you out to the internet. So you'll then go and leave the internet, you'll then come back all the way through. So I know what you're thinking, Mark, why do I need to change my DNS settings? Well, there's performance to be had. Obviously these DNS servers sit in your ISP. They're not necessarily the quickest DNS servers, there are quicker out there. So this is the next step what we can do. So let me just change to the other diagram here. So this is what we can do. So instead of using the DNS servers from the ISP, we can actually then configure our workstation, laptop, to actually go out to the internet and use the DNS servers out there. So we've got, as an example, Google DNS, and I've got Cloudflare here DNS server. So I'll pop the link in the description below, but if we go to here, this is a website. Yep, so I have no affiliation with this website. So let's have a look here. So these are the primary top free public DNS servers you can get. And you can see that they've got a primary and a secondary for each one. So an example we've got on my diagram, I've got the primary for Google DNS, and I've got the primary for Cloudflare DNS. So what we can do first, so I'll drop a link in the description with this link in there so you can have a look yourself. But let's go ahead and make that change now then. So my machine, like I say, as you see now, is not changed. So at the moment it's currently using the ISP for its DNS services. So first off, what we want to do is go into control panel. So if we come down here, I'm just going to put that down where I'd rather have the diagram below. So come down to search and type control panel. Okay. So now we're in control panel, and like I say, if you don't see it as we are here, you just want to come up to view by and then select small icons. You may see it like as categories here, but so just change it to small icons or large icons. Come into network and sharing center here. Okay, and then you're looking for your network adapter. So my adapter here is Ethernet 0. You would look for your one that's here as well. So you want to click on that, go into properties, and then you want to select Internet Protocol version 4, IPv4 here. So double click that, Okay, so we can see that we actually use a DHCP IP address. So we use a DHCP server. That's fine. We don't touch that. So we obtain a DNS server address automatically. So that's where it's going for the ISP. Use the following. So in this scenario, what I'm going to do is slightly different for the first example, is use Google's for primary and secondary. So we can do 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.4.4. Okay, so click OK and click OK, and we click close that, and let's close that. So let's go back into here to prove it all works. So if we do that test again, okay, cool. So we actually went through a different IP address to get to Microsoft. So this is not a normal in the networking world. It just means they have multiple public IP addresses that you can access their site on, and they're using like a load balancing system. So that's fine. We can still get to Microsoft.com. I suppose we could prove that if we wanted to. 1 second. To make sure. www.microsoft.com. So there we go, and you should see a improvement moving away from your ISP and going up to something like Google or Cloudflare or anyone in that list there as well. So that's how to change it, and I think that I would argue that was under a minute. But there is another thing we can do. So there's another way we can change it as well. So let's do that. So what we want to do, let's minimize this down. We can keep that up. So the idea of what we're going to do now is to have a primary and secondary, but like many things in networking, we build redundancy into everything, and we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. So we don't want to use Google just in case there's an issue at their end. So it's best to have Google and another, like an example, Cloudflare DNS like here. So you'd have your primary going to Google. If something happened to Google, you'd then be using Cloudflare as your secondary device or DNS server for resolution. So you wouldn't lose the internet connection, because if you lose your DNS server, as an example, if you had your ISP had an issue with DNS, then you simply wouldn't be able to get onto the internet. You'd have an internet connection, but you wouldn't be able to resolve any names. So you won't be able to get up to the internet. So if you're enjoying the video so far and you would like to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. But let's go into method 2. So we'll go down to the start button, right click, go into system, and then from the left hand side choose network and internet, and then choose advanced network settings. And then we've got our Ethernet 0, which is my LAN card here. So you want to select yours, just click on that one, and then choose view additional properties. So you can see here what we set before. We set 8.8.8.8 as our primary, 8.8.4.4 as our secondary, which are both Google DNS servers, and it's now set to manual. So we want to click edit, and we're going to change. So our preferred DNS server will remain as Google's 8.8.8.8, and our secondary will be the Cloudflare server. So that was 1.1.1.1, and let's just bring up the diagram so we can see that one last time. So preferred DNS is Google, secondary DNS is Cloudflare DNS. Okay, let's come back to here, let's save those settings, and there we go. And we can run back through the test if we want to. Like I say, let's do another ping. Let's see if we get the same address, and we do. And we can confirm. Let's just go into something like Office 365 or something like that. Okay, that's fine. Perfect. So one of the tests that we can do, or a bit of advice really here. So as a network engineer, if you want to ever prove that you've got internet access, a DNS server is a great thing to ping on the internet. So if you're sitting here on your system, let's scroll down here, and you you're connected to your network, but you want to confirm that you've got internet access and you're not sure. Let's say the browser's not working for some reason, so you can go right back to basic, open the command line that we've got here and just type ping, and let's ping one of those DNS servers on the internet. And you see they will reply. So if it replies, it's proving that you're getting from your desktop through your ISP out to the internet and back again, and that's just a valid test. And that's how to change your DNS settings in under a minute. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.